Hi, I'm Jim Jackson, who along with my wife Lynn co-founded Connected Families. We started Connected Families over a decade ago to inspire, to equip parents to make God's grace and truth compelling for their kids. And one of the things we end up talking about a lot with parents, almost every day in fact, is consequences when kids misbehave. What's the right consequence? And there's a typical thinking that parents have that we think gets them in a little bit of trouble in this journey of figuring out how to help their kids learn to be responsible. And here's what it is. So when misbehavior happens, we have a very typical way of thinking about that as parents. And the typical way is that we think to ourselves right away, what's the right consequence? And so we start thinking in our brain about what could I do now to put something in place that will keep my child from doing this misbehavior in the future. What painful thing can I do? Is it a spanking? Is it a timeout? Is it taking something away from them? Is it a keeping them from certain privileges sort of a thing? And that's where we go in our brain. And those are all possible things that parents can put in place to help their kids learn. But if we're not doing a deeper look at all of this and thinking about it more ourselves, and then helping our kids learn to think about it more themselves, then we've reduced what happens when kids misbehave and the things that we do to help them learn to just a behavior modification program. And it's our thought that as parents, when we discipline our kids, we're not there to behave, to modify behavior. We're doing this in order to reach a child's heart. Parents consistently come to us with a strong felt need about correcting kids' challenging behavior. They're typically looking for a quick fix method or 3 steps to well-behaved kids. We get the importance of dealing well with misbehavior, but we know that to do it well in ways that have lasting impact, we need to get under the surface of the misbehavior. We know that it's the stuff underneath our corrective methods that determine whether our discipline will really reach into a child's heart and truly disciple them.
Becoming the kind of parent you want to be begins with you, at what we call your foundation.
The work a person does to intentionally grow in God's grace and truth builds a strong foundation for everything they do. If parents don't intentionally grow a strong foundation, they come to the task of disciplining children largely ill-equipped for the challenges and prone to random or harsh reactions. But as parents bring the whole counsel of Scripture to parenting and grow in faith and insight about what's going on in themselves and their kids, their responses to their kids are transformed.
When parents are thoughtful about building a strong foundation, they communicate a subtle but powerful message to their kids. You are safe with me. By safe, we mean that kids have a sense, even in the midst of struggles, that their parents are for them, not against them. These parents bring God's grace even to discipline challenges. This doesn't mean kids get away with stuff, just that grace is present even during challenges. This paves the way for kids to experience, not just hear about God's grace.
From a strong foundation, parents can connect well with their kids. Connected parents know and enjoy their children. They listen to and understand their kids. To connect is to both love and like unconditionally. This doesn't mean you always like what they do, but that even when they act up, they know that nothing can change your affection for them. Connected kids tend to grow up secure and confident. They are less inclined to run out from under the umbrella of parental protection. These kids have the easiest time growing into healthy relationships.
When parents connect well, they communicate the message, you are loved no matter what. Think about it. If love is to be understood and received as unconditional, it must show up in the context of misbehavior. Parents who learn to keep love alive even when their kids misbehave raise children who value doing right, not because they'll get punished if they don't, but because they want to obey the one who loves them.
As parents build a strong foundation and connect well, they earn their kids' respect to build into their lives, to become the trusted coach that can help them grow in God's purposes for their lives. To coach kids well is to be intentional about teaching, modeling, mentoring, and creating opportunities for kids to grow into the purposes for which God created them, to essentially train them up in the nurture and instruction of the Lord. Effective coaches have a vision and a game plan. Parents who coach well set their kids up to use their gifts in service to others. They notice and affirm character and effort. They ask wisdom-building questions. They even enlist their kids in guiding the plan as they grow older. Doing this communicates yet another powerful message. You are God's workmanship.
Our kids are unique masterpieces, created by God in God's own image and gifted to accomplish the purposes for which God created them. Sometimes their gifts show up even when they misbehave. But it's our job to gracefully coach them into a belief that they are created, called, and capable to use those gifts as part of God's plan to redeem all people. Even when parents build a strong foundation, connect well with their kids, and coach them effectively, those parents will still be called on to correct their kids.
But now there is a whole new context for correction. Instead of a problem to quickly fix, misbehavior challenges become powerful opportunities to thoughtfully help kids understand the critical message: you are responsible for your life. Doing this is far less a prescribed method and far more a unique to each child art developed by good questions, giving choices, and thoughtful consequences.
To do this requires getting past default reactions driven by frustration and the need to be in control. By learning to thoughtfully guide kids to take ownership of their actions, the children learn to understand both the good and bad natural impacts of their choices. They then tend to become internally motivated rather than parent motivated. This is true responsibility.
Now, when we put this all together, instead of viewing misbehavior only as a problem to solve, parents can view it as an opportunity to weave these principles and these 4 powerful messages of grace and truth into misbehavior challenges.
We know that the way kids are treated when they misbehave makes a powerful and lasting imprint on their souls. When parents hone in on the 4 messages to their misbehaving kids, families are transformed, and the kids are much more inclined to grow in true maturity. As one parent so profoundly told us, this is not a quick fix, it's a lasting fix.
And so we invite you to take these ideas, watch this again and think about it, talk about it with friends, or we've got a course coming up called the Discipline That Connects online course. And we'd invite you to sign up immediately after this video using the space provided and get on board to find out more about that course. It's a 6-session course that's really going to explore this and other issues relative to discipline so that our discipline more and more connects with the hearts of our children.